Hi everyone and welcome back. This is Mindy Eggen here today for Honeybee Stamps YouTube channel, and in today's video I will be Copic coloring this hibiscus flower from the new Paradise Blooms stamp set, which you see here. So this is one of the products I'll be using in today's video. I'm also going to be using the Slimline sentiments Eyelet, this just the sentiment that I'll be using today. And then I'm also going to be using the Beach Vibes paper pack, and I'm going to be showing you that a little bit later. I'm going to start off by stamping my images. I have the hibiscus flower here and then one of the leaves off of the large stamp set. I'm actually going to be stamping this leaf a second time off screen on another sheet of paper because I do want two of them for my card. And I'm using a Misty stamping tool to do this, inking these up with a Copic friendly black ink. In this case, I'm using Lawn Fawn's jet black ink, but any Copic friendly ink would work here. And I apologize, my ink pad needs re-inking, so I did stamp this 3 times to get a really good impression. So I'm starting by coloring this hibiscus flower with my darkest color out of my color combo I'm using, which I do have those listed up on top of the screen. My darkest color is RV69, and I'm just flicking that from the middle of the flower out, and then I'm going around the edges of wherever it looks like a petal is overlapping another. When a petal is laying on top of another object or petal, it's going to cast a little bit of a shadow. So I'm just outlining that shadow a little bit to give that a little bit more definition. Then I'm going to come in with my second darkest color, which is the RV29. This is one of my favorite go-to red combinations. And a lot of times I actually don't even use the RV69, but because of the depth of this flower, I really wanted to deepen that up a little bit. So on the RV29, I'm just extending those flicks out and I'm bringing that up. I don't want to go too far in. I also went around the edges a little bit, so I'm following the artist drawn lines, and I did that with the RV69 as well. I just had extended that down a little ways, and what it's going to do is create a highlight area in the middle of the flower, so kind of a lighter spot and almost like a shine to it. So just extending those out a little bit. I want to make sure I'm leaving room for my other 2 colors that I have here. Next is going to be the RV14 and extending it out just a little bit further. With the RV13, that is going to be my lightest color. It also means I have more colorless blender in that color. So I don't want to add a lot of it. I want it to be just a highlight area. I don't want it to overtake. That is just the look I'm going for the particular flower. So I'm not going to leave a lot of room for it. When I say there's more colorless blender in it, what I mean is that when I apply that lightest color, it is going to start taking away from the other colors. That is also why you'll see here in just a moment when I come in with that RV13, I am not going to go all the way down to the center of the flower because I don't want to take away from that depth. So I'm just filling in all of those little highlighted areas. And like I said, the more I would color over those previous colors, it is going to take away some of that color just a little bit. So I don't go over it a lot, just enough to kind of fill in that area, lighten it up a little bit. And then I do come in with an E59, and I just flicked out very slightly from the center to kind of deepen that up a little bit. My stem is going to be a Y38 and a Y13. And then I'm going to work on my leaf. Now I color both of my leaves the same way. I'm starting off with a YG06. I went over the entire leaf and that middle stem with that lightest color. These are kind of tricky to color in because they are really thin. So that is why I started with the YG06. Then I will come in with the G05, and I'm kind of just coloring on the bottom half of each leaf, just so it gives a little bit of definition to it. And then I'll come in with the G29, and this one goes really quick. I'm adding just a couple flicks out from the center going out towards the edge of the leaf. Once I have that colored in, I'm going to line up the coordinating dies, hold them in place with some purple tape, and then I will run these through my die cutting machine. Now I wanted to give you a quick look at the paper pack that I'll be using. This is the Beach Vibes paper pack, and I love Honeybee's paper pads. They are amazing, so much that I don't even want to use them. It's one of those paper hoarding things because there's so many amazing designs on these. These have 24 sheets in them. There's 2 of each design, and they are 6x6 paper pads. So I did flip through, pick out one that I liked that I'm going to use for my card front. And these paper pads really make it so easy to make a card. I almost feel a little guilty because I didn't do any ink blending or anything, but I really loved this board looking background. So what I did is I trimmed that piece of paper down to 3 3/4 by 5 inches, and I wanted to give this definition. So I took 110-pound cardstock and cut it to that same size 3 times. So I have 3 layers of white cardstock cut to 3 3/4 by 5 inches. I'm going to layer these up with a tape runner, and then I'm going to add my pattern paper on top. That's kind of in place of foam tape. I struggle with foam tape lately because no matter how close I put the foam tape next to each other, it leaves lines in there. And this is a tip I actually got from Jennifer McGuire. So I've been trying it lately, and I really have been liking the look, and it's so nice and flat all the way across my panel. So I'm adding this to a white note card that's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. This is one of my favorite sizes to use with my inside panel and the card front because it leaves just a perfect white edge around it, just enough of that white edge. So I'm just going to fiddle around with the design a little bit to make sure everything is lined up where I want it to be and it all fits. And then I'm going to just start attaching those leaves with a tape runner. Those are just getting adhered straight to that card front, and I will attach the flower later with some foam squares. But for now, just getting those leaves lined up. And I'll trim off any excess that hangs off later on. So the hello comes from that Slimline sentiment set. I die cut it from gold mirror cardstock, and I layered it onto 3 pieces of white cardstock that I had die cut as well. And then I just glued them together with some liquid glue. I just added little dots to the back of it. And once I have that lined up, I'm just going to kind of hold it down a little bit onto the card front to make sure it's adhered really well. I really love the style of this hello. All 4 of those sentiments on there. I think there's 4. It's just a beautiful script. It's so dainty, and it just really dresses up a card. Then I'm just adding that flower with some foam squares to pop that up for dimension. And now this Miss You comes off of the Paradise Blooms stamp set. So I stamped it onto white cardstock with black ink, and it has a coordinating die, which I think is super adorable that it cuts out these little sentiments. And I'm layering that with 3 other pieces I die cut as well from the white cardstock because I didn't have any foam squares or strips that were that small. So by die cutting 3 extra, it gave me that little bit of dimension that I wanted for it. And then just adding that right under my hello. And then that finishes off my card. I'm just going to go ahead and trim off any of those excess leaves that are hanging off so it fits into my envelope nicely. So I hope you enjoyed this video and a little bit of that Copic coloring that I did. I hope that helps you in coloring up your flowers. I want to thank you so much for stopping by today. All of the supplies are listed down below in the video description. If you enjoyed today's video and would like to see more, please subscribe to our channel and click the little notification bell so you're notified of new videos when they are posted.